Hi everyone, welcome to the sewing studio. It's Katrina and Jeanette here again. And today we're going to be looking at our favourite rulers. Now I can't believe they've let us work together again, can you?
I know, but it was such fun last time.
We had a lot of fun.
So we're going to go straight into which are our favourite rulers, and we've kept these a secret from one another. So here we go. Number one. Oh, snap.
It's got to be, hasn't it?
It has.
It's got to be.
So I started, when I very first started patchwork and quilting, I had a 6 by 24 inch ruler, and I've actually progressed to a 6.5 by 24. I find this the most useful one, and this is the one that is always first out on the cutting table.
Yeah, absolutely. And when beginner sewers say to me, what's the ruler I should get? And the first one is always this one, 6.5 by 24. You can just do so much with it. It just covers so many of your needs.
And the great thing is, when you want to cut the width of a bolt, because your bolt fabric's folded in half, you can do the whole thing with this. And the other thing is, it's got the angles on it as well.
Yeah.
So, number one.
Number one.
Okay.
Yeah, we agree on that one.
Ready?
Yeah.
Number two.
Are we going to agree again?
Number two. Oh, wow.
Same ruler, but slightly different sizes. So what size is yours?
15.5.
I've gone for 12.5.
Okay.
I very rarely need to square up anything bigger than 12.5, and that's mostly what I use this ruler for.
Okay. I did have a smaller one. I had 10.5, which I used a lot. And then I went onto a cushion workshop where a lady did all these wonky angles, and I thought, actually, do you know, I'm going to upgrade to a 15.5, and I find that it does everything, and I love it.
Well, I've been stuck to the 12.5, but I'm thinking of upgrading, but I can't decide between the 16.5 and 18.5, and I've been on the fence for that for about 2 years, trying to decide whether to go 16.5 or 18.5.
I'd go 18.5, because you know what's going to happen. You'll buy the 16.5.
And it won't be big enough.
And it won't be big enough.
No, true. Now, but let me show you what I do, so that I get myself more space, because I quite often will use these two rulers together.
Oh.
So if I want to cut 16.5, I'll use 10 inches off that and 6.5 off that, and then I can still do my cut. So I will quite often use those two rulers in combination.
What a brilliant idea.
Use what you got, girl.
As you can tell, I'm going to learn so much from you. The last video we did, it was how tidy to be. Now I'm going to learn some cutting tricks as well.
Cutting tricks, how to use what you've got to get bigger cuts.
Okay, so number three.
Ooh.
Ta-da! 2.5 by 24.
2.5 by 12.5.
Oh, why so small?
Because if I want to do anything that long, the 6.5 and 20 by 24.5. I like, this is for my small pieces, my small strips. When I'm cutting my little squares, when I have little bits of fabric left over.
Yeah. I get where you're coming from, because sometimes you think, oh, it is a bit too long.
It's a bit big.
But what I quite like about it is when I'm cutting my binding, because I cut my binding at 2.5, I just sort of put that on up the bolt. But yes, I do know what you mean. I have got some shorter rulers that are great for sort of when you want to turn them around
little
that
spaces,
way.
Little cuts.
Yeah.
I do 2.25 inch binding generally.
Oh, do you?
Yeah.
You see, I've got more to learn.
Well, just different, isn't it?
We must discuss more why yours is only 2.25 and mine's 2.5.
There we are.
Okay, so on the subject of smaller rulers, that brings me on to my next choice. This is my next one that I use quite a bit of. So you were saying about the small one with your 12 by 2.5. I actually really love this little 3.5 inch square.
See, I've gone big this time. We've reversed roles. So it's the same shape, but 6.5, because once again, I can do all of the smaller cuts. It's small enough to use on tiny bits of fabric. But also this is my square up ruler for units, for blocks, and I very rarely go above 6.5, so that covers a whole multitude of
so that does more than mine does. Mine is just like for the smaller pieces.
But they're neat. If you do a lot with 3.5 inch squares, that's...
Or
easy,
even when you're doing things that are 2.5 inches, you've still got that smaller one. So that, again, is always out on the table.
Yeah, same with that one. Yeah. It's interesting, isn't it?
It is.
Different ways of working, isn't it?
But they're similar. They're all like similar shapes and sizes.
Yeah.
So, which brings me on to The last one.
The last one.
Now, I'm just going to show you this because...
Oh,
see, you've got a funny shaped one as well. So we both got funny shaped rulers as our last choice.
now, funnily enough, I've got the trapezoid strip ruler in my stash at home.
Right.
But it isn't one I use very often. So I've stuck with functional rulers I use every day.
I have to say, I have looked at this one before, and being a bear of little brain, haven't been able to work out how that works. So I'll be interested in a minute in a demonstration. So my trapezoid is great. When you make a quilt, so like this one, for example, we've got the friendship braid.
Yeah, I love a braid.
Which is obviously the trapezoid shape.
Yeah.
So this is what I used to use. I used to use this one
with
a bit of masking tape.
I've done that before, yes.
Because I couldn't remember where everything was. So I would put it on there and cut it and cut it.
Yeah.
But the great thing with the trapezoid ruler, which is made for the job, is when you put this on here, you get three shapes.
And you can cut your strip with the bottom bit of the ruler.
Yes, it's brilliant, isn't it?
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's my
That's
my last one and my favourite one. So tell me about this.
I was going to say, shall I explain this one to you?
Yes, please.
Basically, it's 2 rulers in one. So they
Right.
call it their multi-size flying geese 45 and 90 degree triangle. And that technically is what it is. It's 2 triangle rulers put together. So if you bring out your half square triangle ruler there that you use for your trapezoids, basically, so that's the 45 degree angle.
Right.
So that's for cutting half square triangles.
Yeah.
So that's the equivalent to that of yours.
Right.
Flip the ruler around, and this is a 90 degree triangle, so this cuts quarter square triangles. So you just sort of look at it, that's a triangle, that's a triangle. So between all of my 5 rulers, every block, well, majority of blocks, you can do diamonds, you can do whatever, but this is for quarter square and half square triangles. So without all of that, that's 90% of my patchwork needs.
Brilliant.
In those 5 rulers.
Well, I'm really glad you've explained that to me because I've looked at it many times and thought...
It looks a bit weird, doesn't it?
It does. It looks a bit too complicated for me. So, excellent.
There we are. We've both learnt.
Thank you for the lesson.
We've both learnt something, and I love that quilt, by the way. I do like
Thank you. Well, it's purple.
a braid. Now, I've brought a bonus ruler because I actually had 6 on my list. So
did you?
I've snuck a sneaky 6th.
Why did you have 6 and I only had 5? There's favouritism going on here. Come on then, let's have a look.
So I've actually brought my little folded corner clipper with me. Now this is really good. It makes mitered seams on binding really easy and also snowballing corners on blocks really simple. I have already filmed a tutorial using this where I've done a mitered seam on binding, so you need to watch that one, Katrina. But it does do more than that. It does also snowball corners. So yeah, definitely we can do something with that one again.
But I actually feel I want a one-to-one tutorial.
I could do that too.
Okay, thank you. So I hope you've enjoyed listening to Jeanette and myself talk about our favourite rulers and how and why we use them. And we'd love to say thank you for all the lovely comments that we had when we did a video together last time. So I'm sure there's going to be more of them. So watch this space. As always, have fun. And we look forward to seeing you next time here in the sewing studio.